Mechanic teachers. My name's Katya, and today we're going to talk about getting started with Gamestar Mechanic and your first lessons. So over here I am in GamestarMechanic.com. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page and find the teachers link. I can also just go to GamestarMechanic.com/teachers. In this website there's a lot of information about what Gamestar is, how students use it, sample games made by students, and other resources. Right now we're going to focus on how do I use it, which is this button here on the left hand side. And then the intro, guide, and lessons. This is a PDF that you can click to download, and it's a guide that has a lot of information about Gamestar. It has an orientation about who plays Gamestar, what's the pedagogy behind it, what are technical requirements. It has an orientation to all the different parts of Gamestar, the quests, the workshop, Game Alley where you share games. It also has getting started lessons, and a lot of teachers ask me, what are the first things that I do in my classroom? Where do I start when I'm first teaching Gamestar Mechanic? And I always point them to these 5 lessons. Each lesson takes about an hour. I've heard from teachers that you can customize them to your class to take more or less time, and they cover the basics of game design and Gamestar Mechanic. So the first lesson is about terms and concepts. Lesson 2 is the core design elements in a game. Lesson 3 is balancing a game, so it's challenging and fun. Lesson 4 is designing your own game, and Lesson 5 is testing your game and then iterating on your design. So if we scroll down to those lessons, we'll see that each lesson is broken up into sections like setup, play, discuss, and circle up. Each lesson also has a goal for what your students will be able to do at the end of the lesson, and Gamestar episodes that are related to that. That means Gamestar Mechanic has a quest with episodes, and each one of those episodes is related to one of these getting started lessons. So you can have your students do the lesson and then also play Gamestar Mechanic. Each lesson also has a how did it go question for you to ask yourself to make sure that the lesson went according to plan. So let's say you do these 5 lessons and you feel fairly confident that your students know about Gamestar Mechanic, they know about the elements of a game, they've designed a game and tested it and edited it according to the feedback that they receive, and you're ready to go a little bit deeper. Go back to GamestarMechanic.com/teachers, click on the Teaching Resources button, and from here you're going to go to the Learning Guide, which is a wiki that has over 50 lessons using Gamestar Mechanic. You'll see here that those first 5 lessons that we talked about are also right here on the wiki, called Getting Started Lessons, and then after that there's a bunch of lessons on game design. So those are divided into these categories. Lessons on physical game exercises, lessons that have nothing to do with Gamestar Mechanic itself, but are all about game designing with physical games. Lessons on rules of the game, lessons on game space, lessons on core mechanics of a game and parameters, lessons on goal creation, and lessons on designing challenge. And each one of those units is broken into multiple lessons, and each one of those lessons also has guiding questions, also has games that you can find in Gamestar Mechanic that align to the lesson itself, and is divided into sections for you to easily conduct a lesson in your classroom. There's also lessons here at the bottom about core curriculum subjects. So you'll see that there's a couple of ideas about how to use Gamestar Mechanic in an ELA class, in social studies, in earth science, in math. So these are all different ideas on what to do after you've done those 5 getting started lessons. Another thing you can do in Gamestar Mechanic once you've done these 5 getting started lessons is assign your class projects if you have a premium account. And you should look for the class projects tutorial video under the same account. It'll also have a link in the comments to learn how to use class projects. So there you are. Get started with the Getting Started lessons, your first 5 lessons in Gamestar Mechanic.